Here we go. Welcome aboard. My name's Captain Stu. I'll be your captain as we head round the river. It's about a 2.5 mile trip. Should take us about 30 minutes to get back to where we started from. So as we get going, a couple of little safety notices, please, for everybody's safety on board. Please no standing up or walking around on the boat during the trip, in case we get bumped by another boat. Also, be very careful of your very expensive cell phone leaning over the side of the boat to take a photo, in case we bump into a submarine or a whale or something like that. I don't want to see your phone end up on the bottom of the river. Please no smoking or vaping on board the boat. Also, I'm going to ask you to resist the temptation of trying to touch bridges when we go underneath as well. Now, if you end up in the water, don't panic. I actually have a whole boatload of life jackets here on board that I can throw to your rescue. I'll throw you as many as you like. You just keep calling out for them. They're coming in your direction. But after a while, I'm going to suggest you might like to think about standing up or walking to the edge, because the river is about 3 feet deep all the way around. And folks, I hope you enjoyed the tour, and I will be telling you about 36 stories and anecdotes as we go around about San Antonio, and I hope you enjoy them. We're starting off at this shopping centre behind us, which is the second largest shopping centre in San Antonio. It's called Shops at the River Centre, and it opened up in 1988. Built at a cost of $250 million, it has over 1 million square feet of retail space in there. There are 140 places to shop till you drop, 37 places to enjoy food or drink, 6 restaurants down here at the wharf level as well. Just to give you an idea of where we are at this point in relation to the rest of the city of San Antonio, here we are about 1 block away from the Alamo in this location. Well, back in February, San Antonio got hit by a pretty serious winter storm. That storm really made a mess on the vegetation around the banks of the river. We had 6 inches of snow and some ice and freezing temperatures, and you'll see some of the evidence of the damage around the riverwalk as we go around on the tour. Well, there are about 20,000 varieties of trees and shrubs around the San Antonio Riverwalk, and that includes a whole bunch of fruit trees. Around the river there are lemon trees, orange trees, lime trees, avocado plants, banana plants, fig trees and pomegranate trees. And this is actually a pomegranate tree, this tree up here. So it looks like it survives the winter weather pretty well. And most of the fruit trees give pretty good fruit throughout any normal year. On the right hand side of the boat, on the bank over here, there is a statue over here, and this statue is 8 feet high. That is the statue of St. Anthony, or as we know him a little better, San Antonio, who gave his name to the city and the river. That statue was a gift to the city at the end of the World's Fair in 1968. Well, amongst other things, San Antonio is known as the patron saint of lost things. And every so often they empty parts of the San Antonio River in order to keep it clean and get things off the bottom that shouldn't be there. And when they do, they find all sorts of things on the bottom, including tables and chairs from restaurants. They find plates and silverware, salt and pepper shakers, lots of handbags, purses, wallets, sets of car keys, sunglasses, credit cards and money. Sometimes when they empty the river, they even find engagement rings down there. And the number one thing they find every time, that would be very expensive cell phones. So please look after your phone around the river. Well, up here on the right hand side, a beautiful steeple up on the hill there attached to a very historic church. That is St. Joseph's Catholic Church. And it was built in 1868. Back in the mid-1800s, one of the largest populations that lived here in San Antonio was German. And that church up there on the hill was built for German worship here in the city. And in keeping with that tradition to this day, once a month, they hold a German service in St. Joseph's, which includes an all-male German choir called the San Antonio Liederkranz, who sing at that service in the church every month. Before we go underneath the Alamo Street Bridge coming up in front of us, have a look to where I'm pointing over in this direction up here. You'll see a big orange ribbon-like structure up there, and that's called the Torch of Friendship. Now that sculpture up there was designed and created by the Mexican artist Sebastian. Whoa, look at this guy.
There's a snake right there, there's a snake. There's a snake right there, there.
Now folks, I tell people about what's in the river, and I tell people when I see them sitting on the banks of the river not to put their feet in the water.
There it is, right there. There it is, moving. It's moving. The snake. Oh my gosh, I think that's a fish.
Got a fish.
Oh, dang, that's a good cat.
He's a water moccasin. I don't think he'll kill you, but he'll give you a pretty nasty bite.
Okay, I'm
Not
sitting
very
down.
kind to little baby ducklings, and also fish, as you can see. see.
Oh, damn.
See anybody with their feet in the water, tell them to get them out.
Unless they want a nasty
There he is.
bite.
He's scared of us more than we're scared of him. Ma'am, are you scared of him? Yeah, I think he's more scared of you than you are. Look at him. There you go. So there, you've seen it all now, folks.
Yeah.
Don't let people tell you there aren't snakes in the river. There are. So we're coming up to a little bridge here. We're just going to take it nice and slowly under here. Only one boat at a time. Here we're going to be leaving this man-made channel. We're going to take a left-hand turn. We're going to get onto the natural San Antonio River at this point. And when we make the turn to the left on the river, have a look to the front of the boat. You'll see a hotel that appears directly in front of us. And this hotel is called the Hilton Palacio del Rio, the Palace of the River. There it is. And this hotel in front of us is in the Guinness Book of Records. It was built in a very, very unusual way back in 1968. When they built this hotel in front of us, they built the lower 4 stories of the hotel here as any normal building. And that included the swimming pool, the elevator shaft, also the restaurant down here at Riverwalk level, and the lounge area up here of the restaurant. But in this hotel there are 496 hotel rooms, and each of the hotel rooms were built at an engineering plant about 7 miles outside San Antonio. Once the rooms were finished at the engineering plant, they were put on the back of flatbed trucks, driven in here to the city. A crane was waiting, and it would pick up each room, lift it up to the required floor, slide the room into place, and stack the rooms on top of each other like Lego blocks. Well, they call that form of construction modular construction, and they took 202 working days to build the entire hotel. And that's what got them into the Guinness Book of Records. But here's the kicker. When each of the hotel rooms arrived here from the engineering plant, they arrived 100% complete. They had carpet on the floors, all the furniture in every room, beds, tables, chairs, lamps. They had TV sets, they had radios, they had pictures on the walls, and they even had soap in the soap dishes. And then the rooms were just picked up, as I described, stacked up on top of each other. That's how they built the Hilton Palacio back in 1968. We affectionately call that hotel the Lego Hotel.
Hey,
Well, directly in front of us, this outdoor theatre is called the Arneson River Theatre, built in 1940, designed by the man we call the father of the Riverwalk. His name is Robert Hugman. He also designed that beautiful little bridge in front of us as well, and I'll be mentioning Robert Hugman's name a few times as we go around the river. On the left-hand side of the boat, there's seating for about 800 people in the amphitheatre, watching all the action on the stage over here on the right-hand side. Now, if the stage looks familiar, you may remember it from the movie Miss Congeniality. They shot the pageant scene from that movie right here on the stage. Of course, it starred William Shatner and Sandra Bullock. And in fact, they shot most of the movie Miss Congeniality around San Antonio. So if you enjoy the movie, when you get home, drag it out again. You'll not only see that little stage, you'll also see the Alamo as well. Now this bird back here, this is a baby bird. This bird is about 3 or 4 weeks old. This is called a yellow-crowned night heron. Not a very nice bird. They will eat little ducklings any day of the week, those guys, so not very nice. Sorry, man. I know he looks cute. He ain't. Sorry? Just round the corner, man. Round that way. So this bridge we're going under is called Rosita's Bridge, named in honor of a great singer here in San Antonio, Rosita Fernandez. During her lifetime, she performed on that stage back there hundreds of times. She also sang for popes and for presidents, even singing at Jimmy Carter's inauguration in 1977. And that bridge back there was named in honor of Rosita Fernandez in 1992. Now over here on the right-hand side, this beautiful sculpture is out front of the Briscoe Western Art Museum. And the museum building was formerly the San Antonio City Library. It became the Art Museum in 2013. And it's named after former Texan Governor Dolph Briscoe. And if you have an interest in the days of the Wild Wild West, cowboys and such, you'll love a wander through that art museum. There are hundreds of great exhibits in the museum there. My favourite is a fully restored Wells Fargo stagecoach in there. Now this bridge was built by the Berlin Bridge Company. That's Berlin in Connecticut, not in Germany. This bridge was in another location on the river for about 30 years. until they decided they needed a bigger bridge there for more road traffic. So they recycled the bridge, they pulled it apart, they moved it around the corner, and they put it back together again in this location right here. That all happened back in 1925. Now over on the right-hand side of the boat, underneath this giant cypress tree, this little area of land is actually an island, and it's a little heart-shaped island and a very romantic spot on the river. This is known as Marriage Island. There are over 300 weddings performed every year on that little island back there. A couple of Saturdays ago here in town, it was a beautiful day with blue skies and sunshine, and as I was giving my tours around the river on that day, I counted 8 weddings held on the island on the one day. Every time I came around, there was a different bride standing on the island. I just had to make sure they were all different grooms, but they were, so there was no scandal going on or anything, but it is a very popular place to get married in San Antonio. Well, back in the 1800s, there weren't too many bridges going over the river, and there weren't too many places to be able to bring wagons and horses across the river safely. Here it was always pretty shallow, so this was a good spot right here. There was a mill grinding the grain over here on the right-hand side. So this stretch of the river was always known as the Old Mill Crossing. Now this building to the right of the boat is the Western Hotel, built in 1999. One of the many 4.5-star hotels we have in the city. The Western Hotel was recently sold, and the price tag on the building, $79 million. And on the other side of the river, up here, this building was the tallest structure in San Antonio for about 60 years. For many years, this building was the tallest building west of the Mississippi as well. It's called the Tower Life Building. Now, if you have a look right up the top of the building, underneath the flag, on the corners of the building up there, you might be able to see the gargoyles hanging off like rainwater spouts right up near the top there. Now, once you find the gargoyles, turn your attention to the outside wall of the building and just go up one story, and all the way along at the first floor level there's a row of faces looking down at us from the outside wall of the building. Well, those faces on the outside wall are called Grotesque Faces. Now the building itself was built in 1929. It was built by 2 brothers, the Smith brothers, who were building roads here in the city. And they were very, very superstitious guys, and they didn't want to see any bad luck come to their brand new building in 1929. So as they built the building, they installed the gargoyles and the grotesque faces on the building in order to keep bad luck away. And they thought that was a pretty good plan, but sadly it didn't work out so well for the Smith brothers. They lost their building in the Great Depression a couple of years after they finished it. But if you take a look back at the building from this angle, a lot of people think, with a little bit of imagination, they can see a very tall ship or ocean liner coming towards us in the shape of the building. It is the Tower Life Building, 1929. So we're just going to take it nice and slowly here. This is a floodgate, a busy intersection on the river. We're just going to take it nice and easy. The natural river, which we are on at the moment, takes a turn to the left, and it heads down to the Gulf of Mexico, a couple of 100 miles down in that direction. We're going to take a right-hand turn. We're heading north. We're turning into a man-made channel. Well, this man-made channel, together with the floodgate that we just came through here. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Put it on the front of Life magazine. There we go. This man-made channel, together with the floodgate right here and the other floodgate up ahead, are part of the flood control system we have in San Antonio. Now it works this way: when the floodwaters come down the river from the north, they close both sets of floodgates here. They stop the floodwaters going into the Riverwalk, and all the floodwaters are sent down this channel to the Gulf of Mexico behind us. So the San Antonio Riverwalk, as pretty as it is, with all the cute little bridges and the outdoor theatre, is actually a flood control program. And it is the #1 tourist attraction in Texas. Well, if you take a look over my shoulder back at this bridge, you'll see all the padlocks that are on this bridge here, and those padlocks are on both sides of the bridge. This is called our Lovelock Bridge. And when people get married in San Antonio, they find their way back to the bridge with their better half and a padlock. They write their names and the date on the padlock, they attach it to the bridge, and they throw the key in the river. And that symbolises eternal and everlasting love. Well, my wife heard about that, so she said, "Sweetheart, you know, we should actually put a love lock on the bridge." And I said, "Yes, dear, let's do it." And so she did, but she put a combination lock on there. She said she wants to keep her options open, she said. Over on the left-hand side, there is a sign that says Main Plaza. I'm going to go past it very slowly. have a look between the trees up on the left-hand side. And in the distance back here, under the trees, you will see a very historic church. That is the San Fernando Cathedral back there, built in 1750. And that is one of the oldest cathedrals in the United States. Now that area back there is where the first settlement of San Antonio was in the early 1700s. So there's a lot of great history up there, some great restaurants and markets in that part of the city as well.